Shad spawn fishing. It's something I've had a lot of success in my career, something I'm known for, but I really love shad spawn fishing. There's a lot of different ways you can attack a shad spawn. First, what is a shad spawn? The shad spawn is where the bait fish, the shad, are actually spawning. They're making babies. And how they do that, they come to the bank at night, they get around stuff, and people say they rub their eggs out. I don't know what the heck they doing, but from my redneck point of view, they get up around stuff, docks, trees, grass, whatever, flip out of the water, and it's something you can capitalize on early in the morning. They'll stay up there for the first 30 minutes or hour or so, and the bass are gorging them. They feed on them all night, but there's something about that early morning period when bass just feed heavily on the shad that are spawning. How do you attack that? There's a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different scenarios you can attack it. Depends on what they're spawning around. If they're spawning around rocks, grass, docks, whatever. The first we're gonna start with, because it's got treble hooks and I wanna go ahead and get them out of my fingers, is a topwater bait. This is the Sexy Dog Hard Knot. I like this if I'm fishing seawalls, if I'm fishing rocks. It's one of the standby shad spawn baits that if you're fishing open tight water, even if they're spawning over open water grass, you know, a topwater bait can be really good. One common theme that you'll see with all of these baits is they're all white. I got a pile of white in my hand and we're gonna walk through them all. But the first one would be the topwater, the Strike King Sexy Dog. I really like that hard knot. It's just something different that the fish hadn't seen, and it just really triggers a bite. Next, and probably one of the other mainstays in people's shad spawn fishing is a spinnerbait. Again, white. You know, a spinnerbait is something you can be really accurate with. You can fish it around docks, you can fish it on the rocks, on the seawalls, you can fish it around cover. There's nothing gonna imitate a shad more than flashing silver blades and a skirted bait swimming by. A shad spawn, and what the shad will actually get around the blades. So they'll see these as fellow shad, and they'll run up there and want to cuddle with your blades. They'll be all on your blades flipping, and that's another way you can find the shad spawn is by winding a spinnerbait. Keep looking down and see if you see the shad running around your spinnerbait, running with it, trying to cuddle with your spinnerbait. That's one way you can find the shad spawn if you don't actually visually see them flipping on top of the water. And not only can you find them, you can catch them with a spinnerbait. Next would be the thunder cricket. You know, the thunder cricket's another bait you can be really accurate with. You can skip it, you can put it. These shad are gonna spawn around trees, rocks, but they also spawn underneath stuff, underneath docks, underneath overhanging brush or trees or whatever. And you can skip this thunder cricket in there, and it's a bait you can cover a lot of water. It generates big bites. A thunder cricket can be a really good shad spawn bait. Next would be the white jig. You know, it's something I use probably most of the time just because how accurate I can be with it. It's a little more subtle presentation, so if the water's super dirty, it may not be, you know, it's gonna be better to go with the thunder cricket or the spinnerbait. But a white jig, again, you can be deadly accurate. You can get it under there, fish it really high in the water column, fish it fast, and it'll generate a lot of bites. Last, and something I'm just now going to be able to use, is the new Strike King skipping buzzbait. Probably the first bait I ever caught shad spawn fish on was a buzzbait, fishing it around rocks when they were spawning. And then I kind of went to more target fishing, the trees, the docks, stuff I had to get under, and the buzzbait kind of went away. But now with the skipping buzzbait, I'm gonna be able to skip it under there and allow that shad spawn presentation. I mean, this is gonna look just like a shad running across the top of the water, trying to get away. And bass don't like stuff that's trying to get away. So I got a wide variety of bait. If I find a shad spawn area, you know, I may fish them with several different baits, keep rotating through there with different baits and trying to trigger them fish, because they got all they wanna eat. They got all they want to eat. So you got to find the right bait to trigger them fish into biting. And sometimes rotating through all of these baits will help you figure out a way to trigger them fish into bitings, and sometimes trigger more fish into biting, which is a good deal. So common theme is white. Early morning when the shad go to spawning, white is very key. And then just rotate through your baits. Rotate through your baits until you find the one that's working. And then a lot of times there'll be several working. You can turn around and refish the same stuff and catch bonus fish is what I like to call them, just by changing baits. Shad spawn fishing is super fun, high intense, it happens fast. So have all of these baits tied on, ready to go. You ain't got time shad spawn fishing to get down and tie a bait on. Have them all tied on. Have the white collection ready to attack when the shad start spawning this year.